As the story begins, we see a boy named Henry who used to do sheep farming in New Zealand with his father and elder brother, Angus. Henry's father was very happy with him because his son was earning a lot of name and money by farming sheep at such a young age. But seeing all this, Henry's elder brother Angus didn't like it at all. So, he killed Henry's most special sheep with an axe at one place. When Henry came back home from his work, he couldn't find his sheep anywhere. After this, he goes to the warehouse to find it, where his elder brother Angus scares him by wearing the skin of that sheep, and Henry gets very scared. Well, after some time, their housekeeper, Mrs. Mack, came there and told them that their father had died due to an accident. Now, the death of Henry's beloved sheep was one big problem, and secondly, the loss of his father left a deep impact on his mind. These two incidents had a deep effect on Henry, which is why he left sheep farming and went to the city forever. After this, we see a time jump of 15 years. Now, Henry had grown up, and after so many years, he was coming back to sell his property to his elder brother Angus, so that he wouldn't have any more ties to the land and could live a peaceful life in the city. But on the way, their car gets stuck among the sheep. The driver of the car tries to open the window, but Henry, still very afraid of sheep, refuses. This clearly shows that Henry still suffers from a fear of sheep. Well, now somehow Henry gets out of the sheep and reaches his home, where he meets the same housekeeper, Mrs. Mack. She is very happy to see him. After this, Henry meets his elder brother Angus and directly talks to him about the property. In return, Angus gives him a check for the value of the property. After all this, Mrs. Mack calls the farm manager, Tucker, to give Henry a tour of the farm, but Henry refuses because he hadn't been back there since his father's death. But Mrs. Mack somehow convinces him, and Henry leaves with Tucker. On the other side, we see two environmental activists. The boy's name is Grant and the girl's name is Experience. Both of them had come here to spy on a genetic lab. This lab is run under the supervision of Angus, where they experiment on sheep to create better species. All the failed experimental sheep were being thrown into a pit. As soon as the man leaves, Grant sneaks into the area, takes out one of the failed experimental disposals, and runs away with it, hoping to shut down Angus' illegal lab. But someone sees Grant and starts chasing him. In the rush, the disposal falls and breaks. A hybrid sheep comes out of it and attacks Grant. He somehow manages to escape and throws the creature away. The hybrid sheep then crawls out of the forest and reaches the sheep farm, where it bites a normal sheep. Meanwhile, Tucker is giving Henry a tour of the farm when suddenly a sheep appears in front of them. Both get out of the car, and Tucker sees that something has bitten the sheep on its face. He ignores it and tries to move the sheep aside. Just then, Experience arrives and points a gun at both of them. She tells them about Grant and, determined to save him, heads toward the forest, calling out his name. Although Grant is indeed in the forest, he doesn't respond. He has already started changing because of the bite from the infected sheep. Grant catches a rabbit and eats it, clearly showing that the hybrid sheep was a failed experiment that the lab tried to dispose of, until Grant intervened and made things worse. Meanwhile, Tucker secretly snatches the gun from Experience. After this, Henry introduces himself, saying, "My name is Henry, Henry Oldfield." Upon hearing this, Experience immediately realizes he's Angus Oldfield's brother. Because of this, she takes Henry to the lab run by his brother Angus. On the way, Tucker notices smoke coming from a nearby house. All three of them move toward it and discover the dead body of the house owner lying there. Suddenly, a sheep starts moving toward them. Henry, frightened, slams the door shut. Tucker tells him there's no need to be afraid. It's just a sheep. But we already know that Henry has a phobia of sheep. Now, the sheep starts trying to break down the door. Without wasting time, Tucker shoots the sheep in the head, killing it on the spot. The three of them come outside, where many more sheep are gathered. However, they aren't infected yet. Tucker then starts walking through them slowly, but Henry was scared to pass through them. Experience told him to ignore the sheep and quietly leave, so Henry quietly came out. After this, all three reached their car and left for home. Meanwhile, an infected sheep had entered their car and bit Tucker's leg. All three quickly jumped out of the car, but the car fell straight into a ditch, and the sheep was killed along with it. On the other hand, the doctor who had gone to catch Grant returned tired and defeated. After that, Dr. Rush asked him to dump the rest of the failed experiments. One of the assistants went to throw it away, but some sheep came in front of him. At first glance, he thought they were normal sheep, but they weren't. They were infected, and they attacked and killed the doctor. On the other side, Angus was on his way home. Outside, he saw Henry's cab driver, and from him, he realized that Henry hadn't gone to the city yet. So, he set out to find Henry. On the way, Angus found Grant, whose condition had become very bad. But Angus didn't understand what was happening, so he simply told him to get out of the way. Grant, however, bit Angus's hand and ran off. Meanwhile, Henry, Experience, and Tucker were heading toward Angus's lab when Tucker started feeling severe pain in his leg. When he took off his shoe, he saw that his leg had started turning into a sheep's leg. Tucker got scared after seeing this, but just then, many sheep started moving toward them. The three of them ran to the lab, where they saw that experiments were being done on sheep. Seeing this, Tucker pointed his gun at Dr. Rush, who was in charge of the lab. At that moment, Angus also arrived. Henry told him that the sheep had suddenly become violent and were attacking people, but neither Angus nor Dr. Rush believed him, as they hadn't yet witnessed the sheep's violent behavior themselves. Here, Dr. Rush secretly injected Tucker with an anesthetic. Angus then took Tucker's gun and pointed it at Henry. Tucker, despite being drugged, told his companions to run. So Henry and Experience ran out of the lab. But infected sheep blocked their way, and while trying to escape, they both fell into the pit where the failed experimental sheep and waste were being dumped. They began searching for a way to get out. Meanwhile, Angus reached home, where Mrs. Mack asked him about Henry. Angus lied to her, saying Henry had gone back to the city because he didn't know if Henry was still alive. On the other hand, Henry and Experience were still trying to find a way out when they heard the sound of an infected herd coming toward them. Then, they saw a small tunnel and managed to escape through it. They stopped near a farmhouse. There, they saw a human-sheep hybrid, which looked very different from the others. That sheep was none other than Grant, who had now completely turned into a sheep. As soon as Grant tried to attack them, they locked him inside the farmhouse. Meanwhile, Angus was showing a group of businessmen a presentation about his genetically modified sheep. This sheep, according to him, was part of a successful experiment. It wasn't infected or a failed result. Angus hoped to make a lot of money from this project. But then, the sheep screamed loudly. Hearing the scream, all the infected sheep rushed in and started killing and eating all the businessmen. However, they didn't attack Angus because he was also infected. Back at the lab, the doctors had made a cure for the infection and injected Tucker with it, which healed him and returned him to normal. Dr. Rush took the antidote to give to Angus, but before he could reach him, the infected sheep attacked and killed him too. Meanwhile, Henry and Experience reached Mrs. Mack, where Grant also appeared. Mrs. Mack tried to kill him, but Experience knocked him unconscious with a stick. When they tried to leave the house, they saw hundreds of infected sheep in front of them. Mrs. Mack noticed teeth marks on Henry's hand, which meant Henry was also infected. After that, the three of them started moving toward the back door. Henry decided to stay behind to stop Angus, and told the others to go somewhere safe. Before parting, Experience kissed Henry, unsure if they would ever meet again. Then, Henry walked out among the sheep, wearing sheepskin. But suddenly, another sheep jumped on him, tearing off the disguise. Still, none of the sheep attacked Henry. This made him realize that he was also infected. The sheep weren't attacking him. On the other hand, we saw Angus, who was planning to leave in a private plane with his genetically modified sheep. But by now, the infection had also started affecting Angus, and soon he turned into a sheep too. Then Henry arrived at the airstrip. Angus, now transformed, tried to kill Henry, but in the struggle, he ended up injuring himself by hitting the wing of the plane. Meanwhile, Tucker arrived from the left and gave Henry the same antidote that had cured him. After taking the injection, Henry was completely cured, but Angus was still infected and alive. He went toward the flock of infected sheep, and they made him their prey. All the infected sheep were releasing methane gas. Taking advantage of this, Henry lit his lighter and threw it toward them. With a single blast, all the infected sheep burned together. In the next scene, we saw the antidote being given to the remaining infected sheep and humans, and Grant was among them too. Now, Henry had a change of heart. He decided to return to sheep farming once again, but this time with Experience by his side. And with this, the film ends. So that's it. Hope you enjoy the story. Subscribe and press the bell icon for more videos.